Following is paid programming.
It's time to talk taxes.
New friends, new opportunities, new partners. EG Tax.
It's Ask the Tax Lady with Esther Gulius and EG Tax on News Radio 930 WBEN. To reach Esther now, call 803-0930. Toll free at 1-800-616-9236. And cell calls are free at star 930. And now, live from the WBEN studios, it's Esther Gulius.
Hey, everybody, this is Esther Gulius. This is the Tax Lady, and we want to help you with your taxes. So, free advice all the time. You can give us a call, 803-0930, 803-0930, star 930. I got Tiffany Fabian with me. Hey, Tiff.
Hey there, Esther. How are you doing?
I am
You're
great.
Tired. Don't tell me.
I am
tired.
a little tired. I would be lying if I didn't tell you the
Right.
truth. I love the weather. Yesterday we had all the doors open in the
Yeah.
office, the fresh air, and even though it's going to be a little cool for 2 days, hey, this is Buffalo. There's no snow on the ground.
It's just gorgeous. It's
No snow
wonderful.
on the ground. All right. Well, today we got a lot of calls coming in, but we wanted to talk about New York State issues because New York State is a very high tax state, but it's really the tax return in New York State is very complicated. And I wanted to explain that there are a lot of refundable credits on New York State. For people that I'm sure aren't even aware of it. There's all kinds of subtractions that you may not be aware of. And the state of New York will let you do the tax return wrong. I'm sorry, but they will. They're not going to send it back to you and say, oh, wait, I think you're over the age of 59 and a half, and you should have been taking a subtraction.
I caught somebody the other day, and for many years, they were putting their withholdings for New York as North Carolina. And it was New York withholdings, and
so they got all that money back. They had to
I
file
amended it.
Yeah,
the
that's
3
great.
years, yeah.
But first of all, New York State taxes range from 4% up to 6.85. If you're over $1 million, it's like almost 9%. Wanted to make sure that you understand that there are many refundable credits in New York State. That means they pay you money even if you didn't pay it in. First of all, the Empire State tax credit, which is 33% of the federal or $100, whichever is greater. And so even if you have children between the ages of 4 and 17, even if you don't have to file a return, you would get, let's say you have 3 kids between those, you'd get $300 from New York State if you file for the Empire State child tax credit. Daycare credits are 20% of the federal credit, and it's refundable.
That's right.
Up to 110% of the federal daycare credit. So if you don't owe any New York State taxes, but you paid child dependent care, and you have a credit of $1,200, the state of New York in some cases is going to give you like $1,500 back because it's a refundable credit even if you don't have a liability.
And that's the key.
A big thing.
That's right.
So the other thing is the earned income credit. The earned income credit on the federal, we know if you have wages and a child that lives in your home and the maximum credit's between like $15,000 and $18,000, that gets a little less. The earned income credit is a refundable credit on the federal, and it's a 30% refundable credit on New York State as well.
So even if you want to do it, you'll get it on the state.
And you also get the earned income credit if you're between the ages of 25 and 65 and you have income like under if you're filing a joint return like 18 or 19,000, you have no children, you also get it there. And the state of New York will give you that too. The fireman's credit, if you're a full-time firefighter volunteer, there's a $200 refundable firefighter's credit. Then, Tiff, your bed tax credit.
Yep.
Right?
That's right. So if you are in a nursing home and not an assisted living, but a nursing home, and you have to pay a New York State assessment, there's a refundable credit on New York State for the amount that you do pay, 6%.
Of what you pay the nursing home if you're a private pay patient. So think about this. Many people are paying $100,000 to be in a nursing home. The refundable credit portion on New York State, $6,000.
That's right.
On an IT 258. Then there's also the non-custodial earned income credit. So if you're somebody that isn't claiming a child, have lower income, and you would qualify for the earned income credit if you could, to claim the child, and you're paying the
Child
support through the New York State Collection Unit, there's a refundable earned income credit for non-custodial parents.
And you're on time and you're not behind. You
right.
can
So
qualify
just
for
wanted to
possibly.
mention those things because it's a lot of money. All right.
Yep.
And we'll talk more in a minute here, but we want to go to our calls, and we got Greg in Williamsville. Hey, Greg.
Yes. Hi, Esther.
Hi. What can we do for you?
Okay. 1040, line 32, an IRA deduction.
Okay.
Let's say it's $4,400 for
Okay.
the tax year 2016.
Uh-huh.
And you invested in a mutual fund, and it goes down,
Uh-huh.
say $4,000.
Uh-huh.
Can you still
No. If it's in an IRA, Greg, all right, so that's an investment. You put your money in an investment. You already took the $4,400 as a deduction because it's a traditional IRA, right?
not yet? No, it's for tax year 2016.
Okay, so when did you put the $4,400 in?
Before April 15th of this year.
All right, and it's already lost $400?
Well, I'm saying, what if it did?
Okay, well, if as soon as you put it in the IRA, whatever you put it in at, if you put it in at $4,400, it's a subtraction for $4,400. If next week after you put it in, it goes to $4,000, it's not deductible because it's not taxable until you take it out. If you took it out next year at $4,000, then only $4,000 would be taxable. When you take it out is when you'd get that adjusted balance.
Okay.
Okay?
Yes. Now, on a rollover from like one bank to
Another
thing, is the tax year that is that critical? Like
Yeah, it's critical because you're going to get a 1099-R, and unless it's a direct bank-to-bank rollover. If it's a direct bank-to-bank rollover, they won't give you a 1099-R. But if they give you a 1099-R and it's for 2016, you put it on the 2016 return, you want to make sure you put it on, even though it's not taxable, because the IRS is going to get the 1099-R as well, and you don't want them to assume you didn't roll it over.
Okay. And last thing is, I got a 1090. This is the New York State Essential Plan. I got the 1095B 4 days ago from New York State.
Okay.
Helps anybody out there. 1090.
Okay.
Yeah.
New York State just came in 4 days.
Thank you.
Right.
So
Okay, Greg?
thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Bye-bye. I'm Esther Gullius, the tax lady, 8030930, 8030930. I'm here in studio with Tiffany Fabian. We want to help you. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be back with Paul and Carol and Dave and John and your calls after the break.
The heating season is here. Wentz Propane and Oil wants you to stay warm. Call today to schedule your delivery and get $100 off your next delivery if you refer a friend. Call Jack today at 731-9826 or 731-3015. Mention EG Tax for a special discount. Call today, 731-9826. That's 731-9826 for Wentz Propane and Oil.
I'm Esther Gullius, president of EG Tax, better known as the Tax Lady. Did you know cleaning out your closets could save you money? Well, it could if you give your usable items to a qualified charity. We get an influx of new items, and many times we try stuffing them into the already crowded places. Why not clean out your closets and give the old clothes, toys, and electronics to a worthy charity? Make a list of what you're giving: blouses, shirts, pants, coats, TV sets, radios, dishes, household items, toys. Next, evaluate their value as if you were buying them at a garage sale. There's several sites online that will help you, like the Salvation Army website. Add it all up and it's your tax deduction. If you're donating vehicles, the rules are tougher. EG Tax has 33 area offices to serve you. You can call us at 632-7886. That's 632-7886. Visit us online at egtax.com or stop in at any one of our branch offices. This year, come join our family.
Attention real estate investors. Thinking of selling investment property? Pay no tax. Call R.J. Gullo Companies, qualified intermediaries for 1031 exchanges and real estate investment specialists. For a free consultation on how to pay no tax when selling investment property, call 675-1500 or online at rjgullo.com. That's 675-1500 or online at rjgullo.com.
Read the news online at WBEN.com.
Summer's here. That's Dancing in the Streets. You must have really went back in the archives for that one. That's my kind of music, back in the 60s, right? I'm Esther Gulias, the tax lady from EG Tax, 8030930, 8030930. And I know we have people calling from Florida and Arizona on the phone, and I was talking about New York State taxes, but I think we're going to just talk about some of the subtractions on New York State. 529 plans.
Right.
If you're putting money into a 529 plan for education, that's a subtraction. Pensions. Your federal, state, and municipal pension, regardless of your age, is completely tax-free on New York State. The first $20,000 of your pension or annuity IRA that you receive is tax-free for you and your spouse.
Yep.
So if she's got a GM pension, the first $20,000 is tax-free. You got a GM pension, the first $20,000 for you is tax-free.
And that's one of those times when you use the tax software. I've seen people mark it both as the spouse, and one is with one and one is the other, and then they lose that.
And then, of course, your Social Security is completely tax-free, and so are all federal obligations.
Right.
If you have interest from U.S. savings bonds, that's also tax-free. Okay, let's go back to the phones, and we're going to go to Paul. Hey, Paul, how can we help you, sir?
Hi, Esther.
Hi.
Question is about inheritance.
Yeah.
If property or like a bank account is inherited, does that have to be claimed on your taxes?
Okay, so it all depends on what kind of inheritance, all right? Because the first thing you said was property. So if you inherit property like stocks, bonds, or real estate, and you sell it, when you first inherit it, if you don't sell it, it's not going to be a taxable event. It's taxable when you sell the property, okay?
Okay.
Then the second thing would be cash that you got, and cash is not taxable, okay? So, and neither is most life insurance policies. So if you get cash, that's tax-free from an inheritance standpoint. If you got an IRA, an annuity, then it's going to be a pension, and that's going to be taxable. If you got stocks, bonds, or real estate, when you sell it, you have to either go back to the donor's basis if it was gifted to you prior to their death, or if you got it through the estate after their death, you'd get a stepped-up basis as according to the fair market value on the date of their death.
So not until it's sold, the property. You don't have
Okay.
to declare it until it's sold.
Did I answer your question?
Yes. So I mean, like a bank account would be considered cash.
That's exactly right. So no taxes due.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome, sir. Bye-bye. Let's see. We're going to go to Patty in Arizona. Hey, Patty, how can we help you?
Well, hi, Esther. I'm calling regarding a class action lawsuit that I was awarded monies.
Uh-huh.
Is there a way that I can offset some of that amount if I use the money to pay off debt?
No. The class action lawsuit is going to be taxable as other income, unless it was for pain and suffering, but class action lawsuits wouldn't be. So it's going to be fully taxable. Now, all of the other things you can come up with to offset that might be all your itemized deductions. I don't know if you work and you can put money into an IRA, things of that nature. But that class action lawsuit is taxable, and you can't reduce it by paying off debt. No.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Bye-bye. I'm Esther Gulias, the tax lady from EG Tax, 8030930, 8030930, star 930 on a cell phone. And we're going to go to Carol in Port Charlotte, I'm assuming Florida, right?
That's correct, Esther.
Hey, how you doing?
Great, thank you. My question is about a Schedule D.
Okay.
Because of the First Niagara common stock conversion to Key Corp.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never done a Schedule D, any kind of capital gains. So I did receive a 1099-B,
Mm-hmm.
and that just shows that my shares were sold at $2.30. And so I got that check. So I guess I need to do a Schedule D, but
You do.
really confused because on there it says about a form 8949.
That's right. You start off with the 8949. This 8949 is like a summary sheet of the long-term and short-term capital gains. What you need to determine is your adjusted cost basis in that stock that you sold. So you have it would be long-term. I'm assuming that you had the stock for more than a year.
Yes.
So you're going to have a long-term capital gain, and the important thing is to determine the cost basis and subtract the cost basis from what it was sold for, and that's going to be your gain or loss.
And
you just might want to seek professional help.
Well, that's what I was
Carol.
going to say. When you're figuring out your tax on page 2, you're probably going to use the Schedule D to figure out your tax this year. Because it's a long-term capital gain, you're not going to use the regular tax method. You're going to use the Schedule D to compute the taxes. So, I mean, I would suggest you go get professional help, Carol.
I think you're right. Okay.
Okay, dear?
Thank you, Ed.
Thank you, dear. Bye-bye. Yeah, I mean...
Yeah, and a Schedule D, and they made it even more confusing when they incorporated the 8949.
For what purpose is that for?
It was about the same time that they got mad at the brokers and said you got to keep better basis.
Yeah, right. Anyway, I'm Esther Golias, the tax lady from EG Tax, 8030930, 8030930, star 930 on a cell phone, and let's go to Dave in Buffalo. Hey, Dave.
Oh, am I on?
You are on.
I'm sorry, there was a bit of static.
I'm sorry.
Esther, the question that I have is, obviously since President Trump's been rolling back some Obamacare things, is the federal government still enforcing the fine if you do your taxes and you don't have health insurance?
I have no idea.
Well, for 2016, yes.
But we don't know if he really will. I mean, you have to put the fine on the tax return. Now, what they do with that after tax season, whether he's going to issue those refunds back, I have no idea. But he did sign an executive order that did say that people were supposed to be held harmless with the Obamacare. So I don't know. We're putting them on. We don't have the option of not putting it on because we'd be violating federal law.
And there's a lot of exceptions.
And there are a lot of exceptions. There's a lot of exceptions to penalty. Like, for instance, was the cost of the insurance going to be detrimental to you financially? Were you part of I think it's 0.805% of your income?
The second
I mean, there's like 23 exceptions to penalty.
Oh, okay.
So, but yeah, you should put it on your tax return, and then if they waive it, I'm sure they'll know who has the penalty, and they'd issue you a refund. But I can't say, Mr. Trump didn't call me this morning and let me know.
But I got to tell you, there's so many people that don't have to pay the penalty when you look at their income and the cost for the silver plan.
Have you taken a look at do you know? Have you looked at the exception to penalty worksheets?
No, I have insurance through my company, so it doesn't affect me. But the reason I'm calling is because I have a lot of friends, and a lot of friends were saying that, no, they're rolling it back, and I'm hearing things on the radio, no, you don't have to pay the fine. But I wanted to ask you.
Yeah, well, I mean, he has not called and told me that they were going to give the money back, but I will tell you that they would have the ability, after the tax returns are filed, to issue a refund if that's what they want to do. But you tell your friends that there are like 23 exceptions to penalties. So if they're paying the penalty, I would suggest they do the penalty form to make double sure.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, I've been a customer of you for years and years. So
oh, thank you, Dave.
Income in my assets. That's why I have to seek you out.
Okay.
And that's that. Okay.
Thanks, Dave.
Yeah, as a point of clarification, because I'm sure there's a lot of people that want to know that.
That's right.
It's as soon as I heard he issued that executive order, I said to my husband, "It looks like nobody's going to," but it never went anywhere. It's like nobody really said what it meant.
Okay.
So don't know.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Dave.
Thanks for the call.
I'm Esther Golias, the tax lady from EG Tax, 8030930, 8030930, star 930 on a cell phone, and we want to help you with your taxes. And so we're talking about New York State here today. we were talking about some of the subtractions.
And I would be remiss if I didn't say that tomorrow we have 2 offices that are open, and
that's right.
is our McKinley Mall, and our Niagara Factory Outlet Mall is open tomorrow on Sunday.
Right, so if you need to get your taxes done on Sunday, both of those offices are open Sunday hours.
11 to 5.
And, of course, we are always open 9 to 9 Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 on Saturday, and we will absolutely get it done. I know that a lot of people are waiting for the 1095 A, B, and C forms. I will tell you, if you have full coverage, your tax accountant ought to be able to do, unless you have the 1095A, where you have to maybe do a recapture of part of the consideration you got to pay for your insurance, your accountant ought to be able to do it without the 1099B and C.
That's right.
If you're under full coverage. Okay? Okay, the other thing is, what else? New York State. If you are a resident of New York State and you had income outside of New York State, many times people write to me and they say, do I have to include that income? Yes, you do. And you do the tax return for that other municipality, and what you get on your tax return is a credit for that by using Form New York 112R.
That's right. That's right. And then there's a lot of clients that I have that sometimes have rental property. I have one that I'm thinking about, and she has rental property in South Carolina. So she lives here, but I have to do a non-resident return for her for South Carolina. And so a lot of people neglect to do that, and so that's really important too.
That's right. And that's why you get all those love letters.
Right.
The other thing that we've noticed this year and is that we are putting in the driver's license information as a point for the Internal Revenue Service to know that, yes, here I'm with the tax accountant. We sign a little form that says that we're with the taxpayer and we're putting in the driver's license number so that they are aware that this is a legitimate
a Social Security number married up with that person.
This is a legitimate tax return.
That's
so they
right.
aren't inclined to set it aside and think that maybe they'll process it later.
Slower.
Right? All right, let's go back to the phones, and we'll go to Mark in Grand Island. Hey, Mark, how can we help you, sir?
Oh, good. Am I on? Because it cut out just when you said the name. But
yes, sir, you are on.
Okay. So I've got 2 questions. One is a follow-up to the last question from the previous caller regarding health care. But my first one was, so I have my own business. It's incorporated.
Okay.
It's sort of like a rental property lodging business. And the corporation pretty much, I haven't taken a distribution as an officer of the company. So my question is, can I make either a Roth contribution or an IRA contribution if I'm not distributing? Like I've got
all right.
money.
So, number one, is it a C or an S corp?
It's an S corp.
Okay, and you haven't taken any wages from the S corp?
No, because my wife works her own separate job, so we've basically just been showing the company, we do the best we can to make it look like a break-even company.
Okay.
And any income that the corporation generates just goes back into the corporation.
Okay, so the corporation isn't making any money.
You might say that. Yeah, it's making, well, it is, but the money's, in other words, it's just the money's sitting in the corporation.
Okay, all right, so you're paying taxes on it, and you get a K-1, right?
Yes, right.
Okay, so first of all, you're supposed to get a reasonable salary, and the IRS is looking at S-corps that aren't paying salaries. So the first thing I would do is make sure that I get myself a reasonable salary. If you have a reasonable salary, then you can put money into an IRA. But without a salary, if it's just a distribution of net profits through the K-1, you cannot, using that K-1, make any contribution to an IRA. However, you could, as a spousal IRA, if your income is low enough, even if your wife's covered under a qualified pension plan, make a contribution to an IRA using her wages as the basis for making that contribution, but not the S-corp.
Okay. And then the second question was, if you had health care throughout the first 6 months of the year, but not the second 6 months of the year, are you still subject to the the penalty, whether or not it's being imposed or not.
You're subject to the penalty being imposed for the 6 months that you didn't have it, unless you can come up with the exception to penalty. So right. I will tell you, Mark, if you want to hang on till after the news, I can come back and address that after the news. You want to hang on?
Well, I kind of heard what the previous...
All right, good enough. Well, then thanks for calling. We're going to take a break and for news, and we'll be back right after the break. Thank you.
Mike Baggerman, News Radio 9. From the WBEN Newsroom, I'm Mike Baggerman. Here's your top stories. Colvin Cleaners preparing for its 12th annual Gowns for Prom in an effort to help area high school girls with one of the biggest nights of their lives. Janet Snyder from KISS 98.5 has supported the cause for several years.
I think it's important for the Western New York community because it's one of those rites of passage, whether it's walking for graduation or going to your prom with or without a date, just being able to go. I've seen firsthand the look in the eyes of these girls when they go up onto the stage of Shays and the dresses have been cleaned. The seamstresses are ready. It's like going to a store.
The collection runs from February 27th to March 31st at several Allstate locations. The dresses can be picked up at Shays from April 4th to the 6th. Buffalo police continue to investigate whether a series of sexual assaults this month are related. Authorities are looking for a suspect described as a black male, possibly in his mid-20s, who wore all dark clothing. He was armed with a knife in 2 of the incidents. Mike Baggerman, News Radio 930 WBEN.
Hi, this is Esther, and let me tell you how great it is to have an insurance agent like Nationwide's Bill Barber. Bill's 40-plus years experience has saved me money on my premiums and potential claims. Have an insurance question, problem, or crisis? Bill will work with you personally without calling an overseas customer service number. All I can say is whenever I need someone on my side, I'm glad to have Nationwide's Bill Barber.
For all your insurance needs, call the Bill Barber Agency at 688-2199. Call 688-2199 today.
Nationwide is on your side.
I'm Esther Golias, president of EG Tax, better known as the Tax Lady. Did you know that you may be able to itemize your deductions to save money on your taxes? There's 6 categories of itemized deductions which, if they exceed your standard deduction, will save you money. First of all, did your medical expenses that you paid, including your medical and health insurance premiums, exceed 10% of your adjusted gross income? Property taxes, foreign taxes, personal property taxes, sales taxes, mortgage interest, mortgage insurance premiums, home equity loans, investment interest, plus charitable contributions in cash or other items are deductible. So are any losses due to an act of God, such as a hurricane, fire, or theft, that exceed 10% of your adjusted gross income. EG Tax has 33 area offices to serve you. You can call us at 632-7886. That's 632-7886. Visit us online at egtax.com or stop in at any one of our branch offices. This year, come join our family.
The heating season is here. Wentz Propane and Oil wants you to stay warm. Call today to schedule your delivery and get $100 off your next delivery if you refer a friend. Call Jack today at 731-9826 or 731-3015. Mention EG Tax for a special discount. Call today, 731-9826. That's 731-9826 for Wentz Propane and Oil.
This is 7 First Alert meteorologist Andy Parker. Listen for my complete forecast weekday mornings on News Radio 930 WBEN.
Ah, that Motown sound. I'm Esther Golias, the tax lady from EG Tax. We want to help you with your taxes. If you need the best tax help for the most reasonable fees, EG Tax is there to help you, and so am I. And I want to tell you, if you have questions during the week and we're not on the radio, by the way, we do that TV show Tuesday nights.
That's right.
6:30 on WBBZ, where we answer a lot more questions. But you can also get me through our website at egtax.com, and there's Ask a Tax Question, and it comes right to me, and I answer it.
And if you like us on Facebook and you're a brand new liker or something, you're our friend, you become our friend, we can raffle you off for a free tax return.
We don't raffle them off.
No.
We raffle off.
Right.
All right. And anyway, kind of following up with New York State, and I know I got phone calls, Mike and Ron and John, and your phone calls, 8030930, 8030930, star 930 on a cell phone. remember to add back your municipal bond interest on New York State if it's from another state.
Yeah.
Like if it's from California, make sure it's an add back. And then the other thing is if you're paying long-term care insurance, okay, that is a credit on New York State. It doesn't offset anything but your liability, but it pretty much many times wipes out that liability. So don't forget that, and don't forget the household credit.
Yeah.
Right? So wanted to talk about that. And let's go to Mike in Hamburg. Hi, Mike. How can we help you, sir?
Hello, Esther.
Hey.
I have a question about Form 1040, line 13, capital gain or loss.
Yeah.
This is the first year. I do my own taxes. This is the first year I've had a capital loss.
Okay.
And it's the maximum of $3,000.
Okay.
And on line 22, where it says combine the amounts in the far right-hand column, line 7 through 21.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it does not say to subtract that loss. It just says combine those amounts.
Okay. When you combine those amounts, Mike, is it a loss?
The amount on line 13 is.
Okay. Are you talking on the Schedule D?
No. 1040.
Okay. So you did the Schedule D and you have a loss. How big of a loss do you have?
$3,000.
That's all?
Well, that's the maximum.
No, it isn't, Mike. Mike, it's not the maximum. How much is your loss?
It's almost $5,000.
Okay. So you have a $5,000 loss, of which you can take $3,000 this year. Then next year, the balance between the $3,000 and the $5,000 is a carry forward to next year.
Yes, okay.
Okay?
But what was your
All right.
question?
So, and then that $3,000 is a subtraction against other income.
Okay, so subtract that from the amounts above it and below.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
And make sure you carry forward that loss to next year.
Okay, but line 22, it doesn't say to subtract that.
But it is a minus. So when you combine positives with negatives, it ends up to be a subtraction.
And don't
against
forget
other
when you're
income.
figuring out your tax bill on page 2 to maybe use the Schedule D worksheet, right?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Esther, right? Am I right? Do you think?
Well, no, not you. Not on the loss.
Not on the
Yeah.
loss. Okay. Yep.
Okay, Mike.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. I'm Esther Gullius, the tax lady from EG Tax, 803-0930, 803-0930, star 930 on a cell phone. And we're going to Ron in Jamestown. Hi, Ron. Hello, Ron.
Hi.
Hey, how can we help you?
Just calling to see if there are, if any, tax advantages by placing assets either in a revocable or irrevocable trust fund.
Are there any all right.
you
well,
always
all right.
teach
Well,
me.
first of all, if it's an irrevocable trust fund, it means it just goes on your regular tax return because there's no special treatment on a revocable trust, because that means you can move the assets around. It's really kind of not it's not a very strong document at all. On a irrevocable trust, then the assets go into the irrevocable trust and they don't come on your personal return, okay? And it depending upon how the trust is set up, if it has beneficiaries, the income from the irrevocable trust would then go to the beneficiaries, and if it's done 5 years prior to somebody getting older and going to a nursing home, those assets are protected.
Whereas in a revocable
trust, it's still out there. Yep.
So it would have its own return?
Yeah, it does. It does a 1041. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Bye-bye. That was an interesting question.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's very true.
Right. So when people are doing a revocable trust, it's like they're saying, I really want to give away the assets, but not really.
Right.
When you put the assets in an irrevocable trust, it means like the assets are no longer yours. They now belong to the trust, and that's the way it is.
But then they're protected. I mean, so that the nursing home couldn't
Right,
get them.
but the other caveat is that you pay a lot more taxes. If the 1041 is paying the taxes, you pay a lot more taxes than you would if it were passed through
It's
to an individual.
one of those times you'd like a crystal ball, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I think you really, that's why good elder planning is so important. And it's something that I can't stress enough. All of us think we're all going to live forever and we're never going to get sick, but it's really the kind of conversation that you might want to have with your parents, and if you're a parent, might want to have with your kids, because if you want to protect your assets, sometimes the only way to do it is in a trust or a life estate, right?
That's right.
If it's a house. All right, let's go back. And again, 8030930, 8030930, star 930 on a cell phone. I'm Esther Gulius, the tax lady from EG Tax. Our offices are open tonight till 5. We have 2 offices open tomorrow on Sunday at the McKinley Mall and
the
Niagara Factory Outlet. And we're open all next week and through the end of tax season during the week, 9 to 9 and 9 to 5 on Saturdays. And we certainly want to help you. And so let's go to John and Elma. Hi, John.
Hi, Esther. I have a question about an IRA.
Sure.
My mom, who's 80 years old, has an IRA, and she did not take her RMDs in 16. Does she need to take them still?
All right, so the first thing she's got to, there's going to be a penalty.
Right.
And so the penalty is 50% of the amount she didn't take out.
Wow.
Right?
Okay.
So, but there is a
exception.
There is a mea culpa portion on the form that you can say, please forgive me. I didn't take it out, and I'm going to take it out right now. And you actually don't penalize them. You submit that form, and you wait to see if they penalize her.
But usually they're pretty lenient.
I've never seen them do the penalty.
Yeah.
So I would ask for the exception to penalty on that form, and
he wants to know if she should take it out.
Yes, and then make sure that she takes it out and does the second one this year, so that she takes double.
And make sure you do that area on the form to ask for forgiveness, okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right, John.
Bye.
Bye-bye. RMDs are so important. Required minimum distribution. Required. It's required. Once you're 70 and a half and you have a pension plan or an annuity or an IRA, you're required to take out at least a minimum payment. And if you don't, the penalty is 50% of the amount you didn't take out.
Right.
So if you're supposed to take out $10,000 and you don't, then there's a $5,000 penalty.
That's exactly right. And that doesn't sound like a good plan.
It's not a good plan.
No.
Okay. I'm Esther Gulius, the tax lady from EG Tax, 8030930. 8030930, star 930 on a cell phone. And we want to help you. We're going to go to Mr. Joe. Hey, Joe.
Hello.
You're talking about an RMD, right?
Yes, I am. My wife turned 70 last November, so she has to take that RMD this year.
Right.
Now, will she have to take another one when she turns 71 in November?
No, in the year you turn 70 and a half. So when's her birthday?
It was in last November.
So December, January, February, March, April. So she's going to take her first RMD anytime this year, okay?
Right.
But she can wait till next year, up till April the 1st, to take that first RMD, and then next year she would do a second RMD. She would do 2 of them in 1 year. So your wife could wait until next year, okay, to take the first one, and then she could do a second one again.
Well, I don't want to do that because that would make
more income. Right.
More tax on our Social Security.
Okay. Yes. Well, because you have other forms of income, correct?
Yes. So
So she just has to do the one this year.
And then she just one this year and then one next year.
Mm-hmm. And
right.
for the rest of her life, until she depletes the IRA.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thanks a whole lot. Bye-bye. It's really important that people realize that even though it's a required minimum distribution, that sometimes you can take more out because there are a number of seniors that are listening right now who are taking their RMDs, but they have a lot more money in their IRAs, and they're not paying income taxes, and really you can take more out tax-free. I just talked to a gentleman this morning who funds his own pension plan, and if he's lucky, and I mean this sincerely, if he gets $200,000 in there because it's so expensive to live, he'll be lucky. So that's all he's going to have is like $200,000 when he retires. So really, and he's putting it in a Roth. And I said, why are you putting it in a Roth? He said, because it's going to be tax-free when I take it out. And I said, well, the truth of the matter is, it's going to be tax-free anyway. Right. Because if you're married filing a joint return right now, and if you're over the age of 65, the first like $22,000 is tax-free. So you're shooting yourself in the foot up front and in the back.
Right. And the truth is, he could put more in if he was doing a traditional. He would have a little bit extra room because he's paying the tax up front for the Roth. Yeah.
Right. That's exactly. And he was looking, he says, what can I do to cut my tax bill? And I said, well, the first thing you should do is stop putting money in a Roth. Put it in a traditional.
Tell you how many times.
And I said, now look, if you were like working for the state of New York and you're going to get a $50,000 pension, or I don't even know who else pays pensions anymore, for some government agency, federal government, I said I might tell you something different. Or if you were extremely wealthy, but quite frankly, you're a man of modest means, you don't need a Roth.
That's right.
Okay,
he said, aha.
That's what he did. He asked me if I wanted a cheesecake. And I said, no, I want a cheesecake, but the cheesecake will end up in my stomach all around me. All right, I'm Esther Gulias, the tax lady, 8030930, 8030930, star 930 on the cell phone, and we want to help you with your tax questions. We're going to go to Ivan. Ivan, what a name. It's such a strong name. Ivan in Tonawanda. How can we help you, sir?
Hi. How are you doing today?
I'm good.
That's good. I had a question. I had some First Niagara Bank stock, which was, I guess, changed to KeyBank stock.
Right.
And then I got some of it was in stock, some of it was in money.
Right.
And I got a 1099-B form for the cash part.
Right, from ComputerShare.
Right. How to report that, I guess.
You got to put it on a Schedule D.
Okay.
All right, so you're going to report it on a Schedule D, and you got to determine your cost basis. So you're going to have to go back and do a little bit of math, like what did you originally pay for the Bank of the First Niagara stock, and how much of it went to KeyBank, how much of it went to the partial shares that they sold, and then you come up with a cost basis. That all goes on a Schedule D, and the tax computation is also on the Schedule D. So you're not going to compute your taxes like you would have normally. You're going to use the Schedule D because it saves you money.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Do you have any other stock besides that, Ivan?
No, that's all I own.
That's all. You don't have any dividends from mutual funds or anything like that?
No, I got some dividends from that same stock, but...
Okay. So the dividends are qualified, so those will also be part of your Schedule D computation. So if you need help, you can call us. You can write to me. But like I told the lady from Florida, I think maybe you might want to seek out some professional help this year, okay?
Yeah, I think I may need to.
All right, Ivan. Thanks for calling.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. I'm Esther Gulias, the tax lady from EG Tax, 8030930, 8030930, star 930 on a cell phone. And they report that on a schedule. It's a 1099-B form.
B form.
When you have a 1099-B, even though you think you didn't sell stock, when your broker's sending out these statements, you want to make sure that you report that on a Schedule D because it saves you money. I had a client that had filed earlier, and this last week she got a 1099-B form, and she dropped it off. And the interesting thing, since the computation on the Schedule D is so beneficial, and they were in the 15% bracket, they paid 0% on it. So it ended up only costing her like $2 in taxes. So had she not used the Schedule D for computation, she would have overpaid.
Well, 2 people today came in to file their returns with me, and they didn't have their 1099-Bs because they weren't out yet, and so we had to put their returns on hold. And so many times these organizations ask for extensions to produce produce the forms, and the IRS grants the extension.
That's right. So a lot of people are like rushing to get their refunds in, which you understand. I mean, you understand why.
Yes.
But you don't have all the paperwork. One client I've amended now 3 times. You know.
Yeah.
So, but what's interesting, as I say, do you have any other form of? Do you have this? Do you have this? And people forget.
Right.
They just forget.
I forget. It's a blur.
Right. I'm Esther Gullius, the tax lady from EG Tax, 803-0930, 803-0930, star 930 on your cell phone, and we're going to go to James in Amherst. Hi, James. How can we help you, sir?
Well, this is not a tax question, but it may be information that you have, and that's the limits on earned income if you're on SSI or SSD. What can you?
Oh, you mean under age 65?
Under age 65, yes.
Okay, it's like I got to look it up, Jim. I got my Bible here. So how's your wife and you doing? Good.
It is that, Jim. You have to...
I know who it is. I know your voice.
There's no safe places from you, are there?
I'm going to tell you. I know your voice. Okay, let's see.
What are you asking?
He wants to find out how much you can make. Okay. Earnings limitation if you're under normal retirement age is $16,920.
Divided up which way? Does it matter, or it just
makes no difference?
What do you mean divided
Together.
up what way? It's $16,920 if it's a joint
family.
Oh,
if it's you. So it's $16,920 you, $16,920 her.
I have some friends, Esther. So
I know, Jim.
Okay, so by the month, what does that work out to be? I could do.
Oh my gosh, I'm not going to do your math, Mr. Jim.
Well, Mr. Not threatening, but I'm not sure if it's friendly either.
Yeah. So $16,920 before, and just in case anybody's wondering what the heck we're talking about, if you're under normal retirement age and you're still working, you are going to start paying back Social Security. They're going to adjust $1 for every $2 you make on any excess over the $16,920. Okay. Until you reach normal retirement age. Thank you, Mr. Jim.
Well, I'm going to save myself. I'm going to the state next time.
Bye-bye, Jim. Sounds like he was falling off of a stool.
It sounded like he said he's going in for a steak. I don't know.
Oh, good. Well, let's go back to the phones, and we're going to go to Max in Hamburg. Hey, Max.
Hi there, Esther.
How can we help you, sir?
Yes, my father-in-law passed away last year and was required to take an RMD, passed away and never took it.
Uh-huh.
Now when I'm filling out the tax return, do I have to declare that and pay the 50% penalty?
No, if you pass away before you did it, there's not a problem.
Could you repeat?
In other words, if you passed away before you took your RMD, you didn't get the income, so you don't have to put it on.
No,
but
no
it's going to
penalty.
go to the beneficiary, who then would have to report the RMD on theirs
and take an RMD
and take the RMD.
Oh, so it has to go
on the beneficiary.
On the beneficiary, then.
Right?
Okay. Okay. So there's no penalty for that, then.
No, sir.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, sir. Bye-bye. And let's see, we're going to go to Jerry. Hey, Jerry. Esther Gullius, how can I help you?
Hi. Thanks for taking my call.
Yeah.
My wife early last year was in a no-fault accident, and as a result lost some time at work.
Yeah.
She did go back later in the year, and she received, as a result, 2 W-2s in the mail for her earnings.
Yep.
One has an X where it says third-party sick pay.
Sick pay. Mm-hmm.
Doesn't carry any income tax holding.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do I treat them both as income?
You do, and they're both wages.
They both are.
Yep.
Okay. Why do they put third-party sick pay down?
Well, because that's where it came from.
Okay.
I mean, that's who paid it. So the employer didn't pay it. The institution that the employer paid, the insurance company, paid her, and it's taxable unless she had made the premium payments. And so they're just letting the Internal Revenue Service know that it wouldn't have been on this employer's payroll records. It's on this employer's payroll records.
Okay. Is it significant that you didn't take any withholding tax?
No, it's not. How much are we talking about?
Not significant.
How much?
Oh, well, $100.
Oh, well, my gosh. Okay, so it's not going to cost you. It's going to cost you $1.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not a big thing.
Okay, I just wondered if there was any connection between A and B. And
No. It just all goes on line 7.
Good enough.
Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, and she could look I don't know if there was more income, but she could look into an IRA if she wanted to,
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. The IRA thing is like so cool.
Yeah.
For those of you that have modest income, let's say under $30,000, with the pension savers credit, it's like so cool. This morning I used it on a couple. I had them both put $1,000 in an IRA up till April the 15th, and the pension savers credit saved them like $500. And so, and the taxes dropped. So the taxes dropped, the state dropped, and they got like $500 credit.
On the
so
8880.
it was costing them like $200 real money to put in this money, and they still had the money. So it's remarkable what you can do when you plan.
That's right.
Right?
That's exactly
And that's
right.
part of what we do is that we take a look at everything and we try to figure out the angles. It isn't just it isn't just clear cut like if you do this, this happens. It's like if you do this, this happens, but maybe if you did this, we can do that. And how about next year?
That's right.
Planning how much to take out next year. If you're losing your child, maybe I had a client just before I left, his child that was in college is not going to be as dependent anymore. So I said, here's what's going to look like next year if you don't change your withholding. Will this make you happy if you owe $1,000 next year? No, it will not make us happy.
Right.
Well, you got to change your W-4 at work.
Right. That's right.
If you're starting self-employment, maybe you need to make quarterly payments so that you can mitigate that tax liability next year. If you're self-employed and you have a nice net profit, maybe opening a simplified employee pension up till April the 18th will save you money. You can put 25% of your net profit away. It's a lot of money.
And then not to mention, if you're a married couple and you make a lot of money jointly, and if you have kids and you're losing the child tax credit, if you peel off the mom and dad and make a married filing separate, that might be a good
save
answer
money,
too.
Right. Anyway, I'm Esther Gulius, the tax lady. If you need the best tax help, come join EG Tax. Give us a call at our corporate headquarters at 632-7886. Visit us online at egtax.com. Until next Saturday, I'm Esther Gulius with Tiffany Fabian. Have a great week.